Hi, everybody. Welcome to BNI Capital to the Coast. My name is Mike Manning. Each week here, we bring you a local small business success story, anywhere from the Triangle to Greenville, Fayetteville, all the way to Wilmington. Our special, if you're not familiar with BNI, it's Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our local small business success story this week is out of Greenville, North Carolina. Quintin Hellyer with New York Life Insurance. He is in Green GV01, we call it. Their name is BNI Power East Networking Professionals. They meet Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. at Hooker Memorial Church in Greenville. Quentin, how are you today?
Doing well, Mike. How are you? Thank you for having me on today.
You bet, man. Glad to have you on the show. Quentin is vice president of the chapter and a good one. I'll brag on him for a minute. Deal with a lot of VPs. Every time I send something to Quentin and get quick answers back, his chapter's up to 28 members now.
33.
30, excuse me. I don't know where I got 28, 33, which is the biggest it's ever been, which I know is a lot of fun for you guys.
Yes, sir, it is. We've experienced a lot of growth over the past year and a half, but really 3.5 years since I've been in.
Yeah. So if you want to see a growing group, folks, Wednesday at 8 a.m. at Hooker Memorial Church in Greenville. All right. So Quentin is a financial services professional with New York Life Insurance. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir,
All
you
right.
did.
Firing away. Here we go. Um, you have one of those, and in BNI, we call them seats. So Quentin has the life insurance seat. And that's one of those industries, kind of like financial advisors. I believe your first day or first week on the job was nothing but phone calls.
That's correct.
How
Trying
many?
to find a market. Yes.
How many phone calls, and where do you start to grow a book of business? Because you came out of your previous background leading up to this was not in insurance, so you started kind of from square one. How do you build a book of business that first day, starting to make phone calls, and who are you calling?
Sure. So directly, what my background wasn't from the insurance industry. A little bit of background. I had about 7 years of retail management in my background. Moved to Greenville in 2016 with my soon-to-be wife, and I wanted to get out of the retail hours. Her company, she started a cabinet division line with a local small business here in town, and they were hiring a interior trim salesman. So I said, well, it's out of the retail. It's a Monday through Friday job. Give it a shot. Well, we got in there as a fantastic company, fantastic opportunity. But we were wanting to start a family after being married, and they didn't offer benefits. So I reached out to my father, who's been a New York Life agent and representative for about 25 years, and he put me in touch with an agent in the Wilson, North Carolina area that offered health insurance. I went and met with him, and he asked me if I was ever interested in going into this line of work. And there was a couple agents in Greenville. Never really gave it much thought, and then after a little while, I said, you know what, let's see what this is about. So my father put me in touch with the managing partner out in Raleigh, and I met with him, and that was July of 2018. I triggered my full-time contract. Uh, so as far as my book of business goes, when we first start in this industry, they say to call you on your friends and family or your first clients. Well, all of my friends and family had been clients of my father's for 25 plus years. So that wasn't really an option for me. The next one was, well, go to your warm market. And, we had been in Greenville for about 2 years. I hadn't really been involved in a lot of extracurricular activities outside of work. So I didn't really have that warm market. Um, I joined the Chamber of Commerce. Didn't really see a whole lot of benefit in that. It's a great organization, especially here in Pitt County. Um, but then COVID hit. There was a lot of adjusting there. So I really had to find my own niche and how I wanted to build my business. Uh, March of 2021, I found out about BNI. I joined it. And so I'm coming up on my 4 year anniversary with BNI. And it has been nothing but a success for my business, and really, really enjoy that.
And COVID had some different impacts, good and bad, on individuals and industries. How did that affect what you were doing to meet new people or get new clients?
Sure, it was really interesting for me. I'm more of a sit down at the kitchen table. face-to-face conversation, handshaking. Had to adjust to Zoom meetings, but it did open up more opportunities. With New York Life, we're able to get appointed in different states, so we're not just strictly confined to North Carolina. So adjusting to the technology that New York Life provided us, it was able to expand my book of business and eventually became appointed in 6 or 7 different states throughout COVID.
Were you able to go meet people in their homes during COVID?
I was. A lot of people wanted to either meet in their house or even come to the office. I have a large conference room at the office, so we were able to maintain our distance
Mhm.
when it was appropriate.
Very nice. And again, your industry is one of those we all need, but we get these calls from people. It's like, oh, here we go again. How you had been in sales before, so that wasn't new. But as far as like with any salespeople, we all had to overcome objections, not now, or don't need it, or my Uncle Billy does that. What did you learn in this industry on getting over some of those humps?
Sure. The biggest thing to me is people are always going to say no.
Mhm.
Uh, you can't let that bring you down. Uh, you have to pick up the phone and make the next phone call because you don't know what impact you can make with the next client you sit down with. So just not letting the no's, not now, get to you. That's really what I took away from that the most.
Are you good making phone calls and knocking on doors? Some people don't care for it.
Yeah, yeah. Ironically, cold calling when I was in the retail department, it was. With retail, I was in at Lowe's Home Improvement, so I was in the contractor sales. So I did a lot of cold calling there. Um, this to me is a different phone call
Mm,
than selling or building materials. I've learned that it is a touchy subject. But my number one question is, who do you work with to protect your family outside of your employment?
mhm.
Is it a local agent or is it an 800 number?
Yeah.
And so that's really the value that I try and bring to my clients and prospects that I'm talking to is you have somebody in your community that's going to answer the phone when you reach out. You're not going to have to call an 800 number off the TV and sit on hold for 30 minutes. I'm here. I'm the value that's going to look after you and your family.
Yeah, BNI has taught me many things, and I came out of the corporate world, so this was all brand new to me. But it is ingrained in me every day to shop local because there's some numbers you just need to have of that person, your doctor, your financial advisor, your certainly your life insurance people, maybe your mechanic. I have my chiropractor, massage therapist on speed dial, but you're right.
Yeah.
That's the value you bring because I don't. Man, back in the day, all right, so I think I'm older. I don't know if your parents had met by the time I got married, so that's how old I am here. But the banks were all national, and we would call that 1-800 number, and we had to punch in that stupid 16-digit code that I couldn't remember, or I couldn't remember at all, and half the time I couldn't remember where it was, and
Right.
nothing more frustrating than that, man. Oh.
Right.
Yep. So I hope that people understand the value of that. Now, when you got okay, so you had some exposure to the insurance world through your dad, but when you got into the industry, were you surprised by were there more or less agents in the Greenville area as you kind of started working the territory and getting to know people?
Sure. And there was one New York Life agent previously, or still here in Greenville. She's been with New York Life for over 35 years. We've seen some growth in our community in this area east of 95 with New York Life. But yes, outside of New York Life, there is a large number of people in my industry, in my field, that offer the same services. The average age of financial advisor continues to go up, and there wasn't a lot of backfilling of younger advisors as we're seeing in a lot of industries now. So that was really an appeal to me is, if I can get in here and establish myself and make this a career, it's not a job,
Mm.
it's a long-term career, then, I could be successful as long as I stay true to my ethical commitments and my clients as well.
So what did you pick up from your dad once you decided to get into the industry? What did you keep going back to about what your dad did and what you learned from him?
Yes. So the biggest thing that he taught me is you have to go out and STP, see the people. We're all
Ah.
about the client acquisition. You can help as many people as you want. And what we do does make an impact in our communities and in families. So he always says, go out and talk to people. You never know what kind of conversation you'll come on.
Yeah, because a lot of your clients are in situations that they find themselves in. They didn't know they were going to be in that. So you're absolutely right. And this goes back to the cold calling. It's not a lot of fun, but you said it earlier. You just don't know what the answer is on the next phone call.
Correct. Yeah. And cold calling, like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't something that I really wanted to do in this business. So that's where I needed to learn a referral talk. Um, Once I develop a relationship with a client, ask them, who do you know that could be impacted from my services? Uh, and then once I reach out to them, it's not really a cold call anymore.
Mm.
My name has been discussed with them prior. So that's really kind of how I built my business over the first 3 to 4 years. So I could get away from the cold calling.
Is your dad still in the industry?
He is. He's over 30 years. He's out of the Richmond, Virginia office.
So you're not able to get any of his clients away just yet, huh?
No, no, not yet. He still has 5 to 10 years, he says. Uh, but we do a lot of joint work together, and he's a invaluable resource
Mm.
that access to.
Yeah, because there are secrets and tips and stuff in every industry, and I can't imagine how valuable he's been to you.
Yes. Yeah. Any question I have about product or client relationship, I'll give him a call. But works the other way. If he
Mm.
comes across a technology problem, I'm the first one he calls rather than our IT department.
I read as I was doing some research over the weekend, that let me see if I get this right, okay? You led your office in life paid cases for 2024, and you got some recognition recently on that?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Alright, how'd that come about, and what kind of effort did you have to put in for that?
Yeah, so this is actually the second time in the past 4 years I've led the general office and paid cases. Going back to the client acquisition, some agents, some producers out there, they only want to write a certain amount of face amount or premium, annual premium. That's not me. I want to get out there and help protect as many people as possible and help as many people as possible. That's what brings me satisfaction in this career. Um, So a lot of the work that I do is with employers and businesses. We have payroll deduction programs to where I can assist multiple employees, spouses, children, grandchildren, just at one time. And a lot of these blue collar workers don't have access to somebody in my industry during their working hours.
Mm,
So that's important. And that's really how I drove my case rate up this past year.
yeah. Um, and you also now, folks, here's if you're not familiar with the insurance industry, Quentin is also qualified for the $1 million roundtable, which an understatement would be that it's a big deal. So tell us a little bit more about that, Quentin.
Sure, and that again, this was my first year qualifying for that. That was a goal that I set out for myself in 2024 is to qualify for that. And again, it just goes back to not or helping as many people as possible. There wasn't a lot of, or there was not a single case that put me over that. The work I put in throughout the year, the amount of clients that I impacted and assisted with throughout 2024 is what really pushed me to qualify for the $1 million roundtable.
And what now that you've qualified for that, what are the next steps or what happens?
Stacking back-to-back years.
Okay.
Really looking forward to building on that and increasing my positioning in the $1 million roundtable group.
All right. I like that. Do you remember your first client?
Yes, I do. It was one of my best friends from college.
Okay. And how long did you have to work on them to get them to sign?
It was within a week of signing or triggering or coming on with New York Life. We had it in place. He was recently married, had a young kid as well, so I kind of told him what I was doing, and he said, "Well, I'll be your first client." So
Oh, very nice. All right. Um, we assume most people have life insurance, but I believe that that statement's not correct, is it?
that is correct. And then when you really dive into the conversation and what type of life insurance it is, that's where it can get confusing.
Mm.
A lot of people, one of the biggest misconceptions that I run across is people have life insurance through their work and they really think that that is enough. But oftentimes, what they don't understand is when they retire or leave that place of employment, then they lose that coverage. One of my favorite stories, it's a sad story to tell, is people back during COVID, Sears, when Sears went bankrupt, they promised their employees that had worked with them for 40, 50, 60 years that they would have life insurance throughout the rest of their lives.
Oh,
And then when
no.
they filed bankrupt, they pulled the life insurance away, and they were retired employees that were 80, 90 years old that lost all of their coverage. And so they relied on that coverage through their employer that they thought would always be there. And
Mm.
then all of a sudden it was gone. So, I always tell people get as much as you can through your employer, but it's always a great idea to have a standalone policy outside of that that you can always count on.
Yeah, and another thing I've learned through BNI from folks like you is that you're really buying the policy for others when you're gone, and we hate talking death and
Yeah,
stuff like that, but you've got funeral expenses, you've got okay, let's say you're 40, and you and your wife and you have 3 kids, and something happens to you, who's paying the house note? So it's
correct.
things like that, so I I know people appreciate the conversations with you just to explain to them, here's how it can help you just on a personal level.
Right. Yeah. And so, that's what I have to have the hardest time getting across to a conversation, especially with a husband and wife. Somebody may have coverage through their employer. They think, okay, yes, all of our debt would be paid off, funeral would be paid off.
Mhm.
But what they don't think about the most is the grieving process. So that's where I really come in and say, without additional life insurance here, your spouse may have to go back to work the following week.
Mm.
What is their headspace going to be like? And then if you throw in children to that as well, you know, will we have to move? Will our kids have to change school districts? Will the spouse have to get a second job to help keep up um, the normal lifestyle that they were used to? So that's really where I like to position myself as a value. Again, when you call an 800 number, they may just be spitting out a number of
Mhm.
life insurance to cheapest premium. So we like to do a full fact finder and find out what their goals and aspirations are and what would that look like if we were to experience an unexpected death in the family.
Yeah, and that's the value of working, again, shopping local, is that you sitting down at the kitchen table like, "Okay, what are your goals?" We don't have kids yet, or like your friend just had a kid, or, what are your goals? And again, I'm not knocking 1-800 numbers, folks, but if you
Yeah.
call so you call one time you call today, you get me. And then you
Right.
call a week later with another question, you get Quintin. And then 2 weeks later, got one more follow-up, you dial the same number, you get Amnon. And we don't talk. I mean, your information's in the system, but I'm in Kansas City, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. Again, I don't wanna knock anybody on 1-800 call, but it's not a
Right. Right.
priority. It's y
Right.
I think they wanna help, but there's no connection.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's really what we like to, or I like to establish myself is I'm not a product pusher. It's more of a problem solver.
Mm.
We're here to do, to find out what your needs are. Really develop a plan that's consistent with what your goals are, and not to stress the budget out when we're doing that.
And the other thing I learned from a business standpoint, so for the folks watching today, um, if you have a business, life insurance can play a role in protecting that business. I'm gonna let Quentin explain it a whole lot better than I could.
Sure. The biggest thing that I work with is going to be a buy sell. If you have a sole owner and they have an unexpected death, what happens to that business upon that death? Does it roll into a spouse that wants nothing to do with that business? Or do you have something set up in place to continue that business on, especially with a lot of employees that are depending on you in the business continuity?
And all if I remember right, also if Amnon and I are partners and something happens to one of us, uh, do we want to work with the other one's spouse?
Correct.
Whether we like
Yes.
them or not, it's like, well, they're kind of like I kind of know the business, kind of don't, so all kinds of things like that. So if you have a business, folks, do you have that in place? And the other assumption is it's way expensive, and that's not always the case.
That's correct. Something is better than nothing. It doesn't have to be the full valuation of the company, but anything that's in place to help offset costs to purchase out a spouse for the other business partner is definitely something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, because when I got into BNI in 2013, and my brother and I had a business. I'd never done this before, and the things I learned about protecting the business, because if you're a small business owner, that's your life. I mean, the government,
Absolutely.
we file our taxes, it's all just how we do that. So I hope folks, if you're listening, we've been putting Quentin's phone number up on the screen here. Give him a call. Just make sure everything's in order for your family. If you do nothing else, make sure they're taken care of, and that's why you do that. So, yeah, I had no idea to help with business, and man, I'm sure that's made some very tough situations more bearable because everything was in place. I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Absolutely.
Do
And
you
seen it the
go
other
ahead?
way around as well too.
Oh yeah, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part. So, um, all right, so we have a connection other than BNI, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I always like asking guests on the show that are married. So your wife's name is Carrie. How did you two meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
No, we
Good.
don't tell the story the same way. Um, we met in so I went to school or college in southwestern Virginia, college called Radford University,
Mhm.
and started working with Lowe's there, and was ready to get out of the college town. And I always wanted to live at the beach, so I applied for Lowe's transfer down in Kildable Hills and accepted a management position there and moved there in 2014. Um, Loved it there. Had a friend that knew my wife, Carrie. They were friends. They had a mutual friend as well, and he had said that she was working in the furniture industry and wanted to get out of that. And I said, well, I have a cabinet position open here at Lowe's in the cabinet department. She's from upstate New York. She had moved down to ECU, graduated with interior design, and then moved out to the beach. And so I got her a job at Lowe's there. And then about 6 months later, we started dating. And then her current company actually found her on LinkedIn, and they're a molding and trim supply company, and they were wanting to get into the cabinet division. So they asked her to come out and interview, and they offered her a job and said, here's this is your baby, you run with it." And she's going on 10 years now with that company, and
Nice.
has experienced tremendous growth. And so really that's how we met.
And where was the first date?
The first official date would have been at Grits Grill. It's my favorite breakfast restaurant in Nags Head.
Okay. And she liked it too, right?
She does. We go there 3 or 4 times a summer to the beach, and we always make it a point of emphasis to stop at Grits Grill for breakfast on our way out.
Nice. So where does the difference in the story come about?
The first time we met,
Okay, good.
she also likes to toss in that I had a girlfriend at the time when we she first started working. So
But that is factual.
it is.
Okay,
It
all
is.
right. Did it take
Yeah.
long for you to not have a girlfriend anymore?
Not on my terms, but yes.
Well, you were the winner in all this, right?
That's right.
I
That's right. Everything happens for a reason, and couldn't
I
be
I,
happier.
mm, I hear you on that, man. It truly does. So, as I was doing research this weekend, so I was on your Facebook page. You have two daughters. Great
Yes.
smiles on there, and you and I have a connection, right?
Okay.
I have our youngest son and daughter-in-law live in Florida, and they are expecting their second child. It'll be a boy in June, and his name will be Quentin.
Really? Okay.
I love it because their daughter is Cortland and now Quentin, 2 names on neither side of mine or my wife's families. Never even thought
Sure.
about either one of those names, so I'm like, I'm digging that. So, yeah. So soon I'll
Yeah.
be able to say, "I know 2 Quentins."
Very good. Yeah, that's a funny story. Everybody asks how I came up with, or how my parents came up with that name. And
Yep.
after they were married, they were both teachers, school teachers, and they were trying to think of names, and they were going through their roster, and every other name that they came up with, no, this kid, no, we don't like that. We don't want to think about him. And so it was actually named after Quinn Snyder. He was a basketball player for Duke back in the early 90s,
I
late
watched him
80s. Yeah.
play basketball. Yeah, he went on, I
Yeah.
think, to coach at Kansas. Uh,
I know he was in the NBA with
yeah,
a team out there. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, yeah, that's funny. I like that. But, yeah, so I'll know
Yes.
2 Quentins here in June. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Very good.
You are all right. So you were telling us a good story before we came on the air. You're from Waverly, Virginia.
Yes.
How many stoplights?
We have one stoplight in Waverly.
Does it flash or does it actually have red, yellow, green?
It's a full stop, and you have to stop, or it'll be a bad accident there.
Okay. And
Yes.
how has it always been there since you've been alive?
It has,
Okay.
yes. I believe that's one of three in the entire county,
All
three
right.
or four. Yes.
Uh, I did not grow up in any small town anywhere. So, what's the best thing about growing up in a small town?
The way of life for me, there's a lot of farmland around us. Everybody knows everybody.
Mm.
That can be a downfall as well, but that's really what I enjoyed the most was the slow pace of life. Um, it's not always the hustle and bustle, but you get to see your friends at school, after school, on the
Yeah.
weekends. Everything's right there. Uh, for everybody to socialize and get together.
You just got on your bike and went to visit somebody, right?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
How many people in your graduating class?
18.
Man, I had PE classes bigger than that.
Yeah. Yes, 18.
Well, that didn't take long, did it?
No, and my mother was my homeroom teacher my senior year of high school. So.
Oh, this story just gets better. Oh, so now there's another thing, the good and bad of my mom's a teacher at the school I go to. Oh, yeah. You had to be careful, didn't you?
I was in trouble before I even knew it.
Yep. And I always ask folks from small towns, how many times did you get home and the story already beat you home so your parents were waiting for you?
Just about every time. Yes.
And
She
when
always knew when I had homework that
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
do or something. Yeah.
And when did you know that you just better give the truth because they already know the answer?
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time.
Did you guys get a lot of snow up there?
No, we didn't. It's 2 hours north of here in Greenville,
Okay.
so climate's about the same. Yeah,
Do you get back there much?
probably once a quarter we go up
Okay.
there.
All right.
A lot of times with two young kids, my parents will come down. They come down maybe once a month.
All right. A lot of the people you graduated with still there?
Yes, I would say 75, 80% of them.
All
Yes.
right. And the stories just keep getting better every time you get together, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been out of high school for actually it's our 16-year anniversary this coming year, and
God, you're so young.
we don't stay in touch as much as we used to.
Yep.
So
What sports did you play there?
I was football, basketball, and baseball.
All right. 30 points a game. Pretty soon it'll be 38 points a game. The 4
No,
touchdown
that
passes will go to
that
5.
no, my I leave that to my dad. He played in college and was an All-American 2 years, so I
Oh,
leave the big stories to him.
where did he play?
He was at Randolph-Macon College in Ashland,
I remember that, yeah. When was he there?
1981 to 1985.
Wow. Yeah, they were a Division II powerhouse at the time.
They were, yes, he was Division two. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a kid I graduated Millbrook here, and we had a guy a couple years ahead of me. basketball player go to Randolph-Macon. This would have been 76, maybe 77. But yeah, they were good back then. So
Yeah, I'm sure he knew him there.
probably.
He's actually getting inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame in April. So,
Wow. All right, man. So
yeah.
skills transfer to you somewhat? So
Yes, yeah. We had a successful career. Yeah.
how many
Hoping
people?
it passes on to his grandchildren.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I think about that too because Quentin will be our fourth. I'm like, all right, so what's well with Oliver, my oldest grandson. I know what he got for me. We both talk all the time.
Right,
So yeah,
right.
he will. He when he was younger and he would have to get nap time. He said, "Pop, can you read me a story?" I'm like, "No, dude, I can't do that because when you and I are alone, we'll talk. What do we do all the time?" He goes, "We talk." I said, "Yeah, you'll never get
Okay.
sleep." So I let my wife go up there with him. But
Right.
it's funny that way. So how old are the girls?
My youngest will be 4 in May, and then Reagan will be 6 in June.
Who are they more like, mom or dad?
So Reagan, the oldest, she looks just like my mother,
Oh,
um,
nice.
and she acts like me. And then youngest Ella, she looks just like my wife.
Okay.
And I always joke, I say they both have their mother's attitude, but yeah, they couldn't be more different, uh, and that's what we love about them.
Is Ella? It is funny that that's what you want. Is just two completely different.
Yes,
Yeah. Is Ella the mini me of your wife?
she is.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes,
And you have
yes.
another one,
We have a little boy on the way due in June.
a
So
Quentin Jr. Maybe.
no,
Yeah,
we
it's tough.
because Ella's middle name is we made it Quinn, so it's
Okay,
Ella Quinn. So after kind of after my name. So we are going to keep my middle name, which is my dad's middle name as well,
cool.
Kincaid. So we're trying
Yeah.
to iron out the details for the first name.
Yep, I like the middle name connections to family. My
Yes.
youngest son, my brother's son, and my grandson all have the middle name Murphy, which was my mother's maiden name. So every
Okay.
time they get together, we got to have a picture of the Murphy boys. So yeah,
Right.
so I like
Very
that. So,
good.
how many people
Very
in
good.
your office there?
Uh, I'm the only New York Life agent here, and then
Mm,
we have 3 other businesses inside of our office.
okay. Is it a goal one day to have your own place?
Long term,
Okay.
uh, yeah,
All right.
yeah,
And
yeah. Right now, this works best for me.
yeah, oh yeah. And Greenville is growing, so people are moving there, so there'll always be business.
Yes, absolutely. We actually, in high school, we came down here for an overnight basketball trip and played a couple schools here locally. And then when I moved here in 2015 was only the second time. Actually, the day I brought the U-Haul here was my second time in Greenville, and it had grown so much in between those two times. And then in the past 9 to 10 years, this place has just absolutely
Yeah,
expanded so much. So,
yeah.
yeah,
All right, folks, we've been putting Quentin's number up on the screen there. So Quentin, give us a business tip to somebody's that watching who's a business owner, and either they don't have life insurance on the business or they don't have enough. What's first thing, one or two things they should do to figure out, do I have what I need?
sure. The first thing would be is ask yourself, do you have life insurance? And if yes, is that enough? Uh, if you don't, or have any plans for continuation of the business after an unexpected death, and you know, happy to reach out and have a conversation. But the key is to know what you have and what exactly is in force.
And then from a personal standpoint, maybe look at their household numbers each month. And I hate to say it this way, but it's planning and we got to do it, but you kind of got to put a price on things, right?
Yes, absolutely. If you only have life insurance through your employer and you're married and have kids, have a house payment, it's definitely worth a conversation to see if it makes sense to add any additional protection.
Yeah, folks, because for your spouse and the kids, you don't like you and Quentin, you said it best early. It's just the grieving process. It's one less thing for them to worry about.
Absolutely.
So, all right, folks, we've been putting his number up there. You got an expert there to talk to. Phone calls are free. I'll spend his time right now for him and tell you that the phone calls are free. But give him a call. You never know, but you need to be covered. So, Quentin, appreciate you coming on the show today. And good luck with the chapter in Greenville. I know you're at 33, 40 down the road, you think, by the end of the year?
We did set a goal, I believe, of 36 by the end of the year.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you're to the point now where you're looking at net gain because you're going to lose
correct.
3. That means we have to add 6, do stuff
Right.
like that.
Yes.
Math coming
Yeah.
into play,
Yeah.
but good. You're good in math, so that helps, right?
Yes. That's right.
All right. Well, folks, give Quintin a call. Make sure you're covered. Make sure you're covered, business and in your personal life. So, but again, GVO1 meets Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. Hooker Memorial Church in Greenville. Quintin, enjoyed having you on the show. Good luck as 2025 turns to February now. And we'll see everybody next time on BNI Capital to the Coast.
Good. Thank you, Mike.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.